Me Too. I believe we're live. Hashtag Me Too. Unique New York. Hashtag Me Too. Women Too. You Too. Hashtag Believe All Women. I'm waiting for the red light on Rockfin as I'm just working out my voice. There's the red light on Rockfin, and we are live now.
Nice.
Meet the Press tries to trick Trump. BOEBERT breaks it off. And Sean Penn was where when the Ukraine war started? This is Propaganda Reports Drive Time News Blast, Nighttime News Blast Live tonight. I'm Brad Binkley. Joining me is Ian Covell again. Ian, thank you for being here this evening. Are you as excited about the new Senate dress code as I am?
Oh, you know what? I didn't really know about it, but now I'm super excited to learn about it because I want to see if I can't have Senate dress
You haven't
codes.
heard about the dress code.
No.
They changed the dress code in the Senate, and it's believed that the change was made because John Fetterman likes to wear gym shorts and T-shirts.
Oh my goodness!
And so now he can go to do his Senate duties while wearing. I mean, he could pop a boner at any time. And we don't know when it's like. I'm excited about that. His dong could fall out of his pants. I'm excited we could see Dianne Feinstein finally get to wear that lingerie we've all been wanting to see her in.
Oh my goodness!
No more suits. You don't have to. I've been fighting for the unsuited for years because what if you're homeless and you get elected to the Senate? You ain't got a suit, and what? You're banned from the Senate. No more. I'm glad
That's
the hard
true.
work is paid off.
Probably takes at least, depending on what pay period, when you get in there in the pay period, it might take 2 weeks to a month to get your first paycheck.
Right, and you're going to spend it all in that suit when you need food and alcohol?
Right. I mean, you always hear from them how expensive it is to live in D.C. I mean, I love how I think they get over $100,000 a year.
Right.
Right.
Yet they all become multimillionaires.
Yeah, they get over $100,000 a year, and then you hear like, well, they have to keep 2 residences to get a roommate.
Right. I bet there's just so much just debauchery that goes on. I bet it's like college for these.
It's
a mix of old and young.
It's all eyes wide shut every night.
Dude, and we they made the big deal about BOEBERT, which we're going to talk about in a minute, but what they did not talk all that much about because they were supporting her is that I think I told you about this, but that Democrat that is running for a seat in the Virginia House who is literally people pay her on Chatterbait. They tip her to watch her husband do the backside with her, okay? Like, she's very vulgar about that, and people are like, yeah, the Democrats are supporting this candidate, but, BOEBERT gets her titty grabbed in the theater, and people are all up in arms. So the homeless, by the way, I saw this story, and I went through it a little bit. There wasn't as much to it or details as I was hoping, but it was about how a pop-up bar for the homeless had appeared in Denver. So there's these tent camps or where all these homeless people live or unhoused people, and somebody came by and they opened up a pop-up bar for all of the homeless. I have to say, it's not bad marketing, okay? Because that's what a lot of them, if you talk to some homeless people, they will admit it. They'll say, I'm asking for it for alcohol. And it's like a lemonade stand on steroids.
Brad, if you got rid of your rent or mortgage payment, how much more expendable income would you have?
Dude, I'd be able to drink all of this.
I'd be able to drink on the streets, too.
All the time. See if I can show this to you. I would love to see the origin of this idea. When there's probably a couple of guys that were probably smoking something, hanging out, saying, oh, my gosh, you know what we can do? Yeah. We should open up a pop-up bar for homeless people because they'll buy it. Denver police investigate. There it is. So there's the bar. There's like the tent city, some couches. And I would have some... maybe some Percocet, too, you can sell. You see, that's some little gym. This is high-end liquor, right? This isn't cheap stuff. Malibu.
It said there have been couches and tents rented out for prostitution. See,
yes.
Here's what I love about this. Every liberal and progressive needs to take note at what the natural human inclination is to do. It's to be a capitalist. That's the natural human inclination. When when the shit hits the fan, everything goes to rock bottom. We're going to have pop-up bars and rent our couches out for prostitution.
For prostitution, and when the driverless cars are all here, everybody's going to be humping all the time in their
Humping
driver
all the
or
time.
wanking, one of the two.
On the move, humping on the move.
Absolutely. I want to see this on somebody's resume. What was your last job? Oh, well, I ran a bunch of pop-up bars and brothels for the homeless across Denver and San Francisco, made millions of dollars. Because you know this person's making bank. He's bleeding these homeless people dry. And, you know, it's better than a lemonade stand.
I love it.
Yeah. All right. So I didn't know this. Did you know that Sean Penn was in Ukraine on the day the war with Russia started?
Did he start it?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Is that what you're trying to tell me? Is that what's coming next?
He wasn't just in Ukraine. He was with Volodymyr Zelensky on the day of the invasion. Isn't that a bit strange?
Okay.
You
That
hadn't
is a
heard about
little
this, have you?
strange. No, I have not heard about this.
I saw him doing an interview today, and he was talking about it, and I was like, wait, he was with Zelensky in what would become Zelensky's bunker on the day the invasion started. Apparently, he had arrived in Ukraine the day before because he was filming a documentary about Zelensky's odd rise to power, because he's an actor, Zelensky's an actor, right? And he was scheduled to meet Zelensky for the first time in person on the day of the invasion. And Penn said that he got to Ukraine the day before, he was in bed, and he heard all the sirens and the missiles flying above. He's very dramatic in the way that he talks about it. And he said that he thought that maybe the meeting would be canceled. Because, I mean, this is the first time he's going to be face-to-face with Zelensky. But you know what? He found out that Zelensky was a man of his word. And even though war broke out, he didn't break his appointment with Sean Penn. Like, this is you're the leader of a country. You're apparently invaded. War has broken out in your country. And what's the first thing you do?
Prioritize the PR campaign.
Right. You make sure you shake hands with Sean Penn, with what's his name in the movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High?
Spicoli.
Yeah, you got to meet Spicoli.
Mr. Hand.
You got to smoke one with Spicoli before you worry about your people. And the documentary he's promoting the documentary right now. So if you want a nice dose of propaganda, I think it's on Paramount streaming. Is somebody streaming? It's called Superpower, and it chronicles Penn's 7 trips to Ukraine before and after Russian forces invaded the sovereign nation in what is now a nearly 600-day conflict. This claimed thousands of lives. Now, I've seen Sean talk about this a couple of times, and every time he does, he always says the day the war started, or at least the day that it became public. So he talks as though he has inside information about what was going on behind closed doors.
It's such a shame because honestly, if you look at some of this guy's work, he's actually a really solid actor. This is what's frustrating about Sean Penn.
Yeah,
he is.
He's acting right now.
I know. I mean, I can separate it, but it's really frustrating. I don't understand when you see the entertainment industry so intertwined with the war machine. You start going, okay, well, I wonder what you two have in common.
Yeah, he's the progressive, and he's promoting war.
Dude.
And the World Economic Forum did this panel discussion at Davos, I think it was last year, that was about enhancing the role of movie stars and celebrities when it comes to foreign policy, making them more than just the entertainment or the mouthpieces of their messages, and bringing them into the room on creating policy and stuff like that. So I think that Sean Penn and some of these others are probably in the room. And yeah.
Oh, did you ever see that crazy? I mean, they didn't get to create the policy, but did you ever see that crazy story about, I think it was Kim Jong-un's father or grandfather, when he kidnapped those 2 South Korean actors and made them do movies in North Korea because he was trying to create a North Korean Hollywood?
I vaguely remember
it's
that.
Fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. But
is there like a movie about that, or is that? I remember
there's a movie. I'm
really?
sure there's like an hour and a half long YouTube documentary that's just as good.
So they were kidnapped and forced to live their dream, is what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was kind of like they didn't understand. Like, well, why would you be unhappy? We've given you everything.
This is what you want.
This
right.
is what you want, right?
Yeah, you were doing commercials in South Korea.
Yeah,
You're
look,
the star.
You're a star here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I sometimes wonder if the people of North Korea look over here and say, those Americans are so propagandized, they don't know what's going on.
Well, I mean, I don't remember if you and I were talking about this, but you know that there's like a deal with the Pentagon and Hollywood that if they do any kind of military movie, they get complete and free access to equipment that would be, you know, right. But they get a minder, and the minder gets final say on script.
Oh, right, yeah. They have a lot, like the Lear organization, they have a lot of these people. Edward Bernays used to talk about getting somebody on sets of movies and whispering into the ears of the producers and the directors.
And if they can do that and keep making Top Gun 2s, then I'm fine.
Right, yeah.
You know.
Top Gun 2 is definitely
Let's
got
be
some
honest,
action. It's the
super
only
fun.
movie that didn't suck really bad.
Yeah.
It's the only non-lesbian or gender binary-led movie of the past year and a half.
Yeah. That's what that was missing. That's
Yeah,
what Top
it would have
Gun
been
2 was
perfect
missing. Yeah.
had Tom Cruise been transitioning during that trying time in his life. So, did you see the interview that Trump did over the weekend with Meet the Press?
I saw some clips from it. Sure.
These interviews that are the combative ones. So he did one with Megyn Kelly where Megyn Kelly actually, yes, Tits McGee says, are we calling her Lauren Boebert now? We should, absolutely.
Yes,
that is only
Of course
fair.
we are. Yes.
Correct. Yes, definitely Lauren Boebert. I don't know how you could see her as. I mean, nobody's going to be going Lauren Boebert. God, she's so brilliant. I love her for her mind. Ever, not that they were before, and I think she's okay with that. But this Trump interview, like when it's like watching a boxing match. When he does interviews with like Jake Tapper or with Meet the Press or with these networks that are just trying to get him to say something that they can feed to the other networks and to the prosecutors and turn into evidence against him. And that's what this was. This was like almost an hour and 20-minute interview, and neither one of them were listening to each other. And he was just putting out his argument and defending himself for the upcoming trials and for his positions for his candidacy. And the interviewer was just relentlessly trying to bait him into saying something. And I want to show you an example of that. Where I know you saw the headlines that we talked about it the other day, where this was all across the news on screen right here. It's the New York Times headline that says, Trump says he hopes Meadows will remain, quote, loyal, and it has the loyal, and he will remain loyal to him in election case. And then the sub-headline says, the former president who has been warned against saying anything that could influence witnesses in his election interference case made the statements during an interview on Meet the Press. So that was the general, exact same reporting across all of the mainstream right there. And you perfectly described what they're portraying him as right there. Tell me that again.
Oh yeah, they make it sound like he's this mafia boss who basically said, Mark Meadows has a really nice family. It'd be a shame if anything happened to it.
It's a cute dog. Hope it doesn't die.
I hope it doesn't die. And then right underneath the sub headline basically says like, and what's he doing? He was warned against this.
Yeah, he's violating the judge's gag order.
Yeah.
Better throw him in. So now, here's the clip of when he said that in the interview.
This is my favorite thing. This is my favorite thing with Trump is like seeing what actually happened
versus
and comparing
the
it to
reporting.
the headline. I love it.
It's just completely
It never
different.
gets old.
By the way, do you think your former chief of staff, Mark Meadows, is still loyal to you? He just pleaded not guilty in the Georgia
Well, I hope
case.
he's loyal to me. I mean,
Do you
I
worry
didn't do
about him
anything
flipping?
wrong.
Do you worry
I didn't
about
do
him?
anything wrong.
Okay, let's talk about Georgia.
Yeah, let's talk about Georgia because she got what she wanted.
She's just checking off that box.
Absolutely.
She's got to turn that into the upstairs office at the end. She's got to scan that in and send it upstairs to make sure.
The entire interview, you could tell she would try all these different angles and Trump wouldn't go for it, and then she'd get them, and then she go, okay, let's move on as soon as she got him on something that could be used. But they don't say in any of these articles that it was the interviewer who said, is he going to be loyal? Like, it was her that used that. He was just mirroring her language. There's nothing like they conveyed it. It's a bunch of trash. And
it's designed to be broken up into clips.
Exactly.
It's designed that way.
It's soundbite moments they're trying to create. They're not actually trying to do a real interview. They both were there to create soundbite moments.
Yeah, it's whatever the interview version of a listicle is. That's all it is. It's like 99 gotcha moments with Donald Trump.
Totally. And this one, I don't know who this woman is, but she was very good at doing different approaches to try and get him to say what she wanted him to say. So she's one of the better ones I've seen.
She's a tough salesperson.
And that's why it was a good boxing match to watch them. Now this next clip here, all right, so Trump talks about, and this is something that I hoped would happen. Trump foreshadows what his defense in these prosecutions are going to be. Which I got excited when I saw this, because if this is true, then this is going to be a true circus when these cases start here in 2024.
Oh, I'm excited. It's crazy.
If you take a look at the evidence, we have so much evidence. If you take a look at the evidence, even you I could convince.
You were going to hold that press conference, but you never did with the evidence.
No, because I'm using it in my court case instead.
Okay.
All right, so short and sweet. He's going to be presenting the 2024 election fraud case as his defense, which I thought might be the case all along, because the whole premise of these prosecutions is that 2020 was the most perfect, secure election in American history. That's actually the official position, that it was the most secure in American history of the CISA, an intel agency of the Department of Defense. So challenge them to prove that. And I had asked Garland Favorito, do you think that, because I should back up, they always say 60 of the cases have been dismissed. That's why it was so secure. They haven't been dismissed on the merits. These cases, these election challenges, have been dismissed on process and standing charges. So the merits have not actually been analyzed because the judge don't want to deal with it, because they'll end up in jail just like everybody else. And so Trump is going to be presenting all of the things that have not yet actually been scrutinized as his defense, and it's going to make it such an entertaining circus. I can't wait.
When he takes the stand, it's gonna.
I hope he takes a stand.
Oh, I hope so. You know he's gonna. He'll run to the stand if he gets the opportunity.
Entertainment value maximized. I think he's going to take the stand.
You ever see some of those Alex Jones moments when he was on the stand?
Oh, that was great. Yeah,
brilliant.
That was awesome.
Brilliant.
Wouldn't it be nice to be like, because that was a civil case.
He frustrated that attorney so much, man.
It's so, and the judge was biased against him. And, nobody wants to be sued, and you can have your avenues to get out of it. It would be so nice to just have so much money where you can hire the right lawyer to be able to go up there and just, give them the bird.
I did a lot of those mock trials with the National Criminal Defense College down in Macon.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I learned a couple of really valuable things. When you're on the stand, right, when they corner you, just get emotional. All right, that's all you have to do. When they start cornering you, just get them. I was always playing these corrupt cops. It was great. And then one time I was playing a corrupt FBI agent who totally lied, said this girl was selling nuclear secrets when there was no way I could have seen her sell it. And every time they'd corner me, I'd go, you know what? I hope you're happy. I hope it makes you real happy. Every time I take a terrorist off the street, you put 2 on there.
It was like Jack Nicholson.
Oh, dude, I loved it. It was great.
Jack Nicholas.
And they would stop, and these are practicing attorneys getting like post-education credits.
Yeah,
they would stop, and they would just turn to the professor, like, what do I do?
That's so great. I did. So when I was in law school, we did some of that. We had people come in, and I've actually done it not in that situation, but I've been a mock patient where I had to go in to somebody who was studying to be a doctor, and they had to ask me all these questions. And
that's fun.
I remember I went into this one, and it was a really good-looking chick, and the condition they assigned me with was just like some awful, disgusting thing. Yeah. So, all right, back to how in this next clip, she tries to trick him again here.
Great.
Yeah, you'll see what she does. This picture, by the way, I had to ask Midjourney AI to imagine Lauren Boebert giving the Heimlich to her date, and this is one of the images it created. Because you can't say, "Show me Lauren Boebert getting her titty grabbed." It'll be like, we can't do that. So you got to say Heimlich maneuver.
I love it.
Yeah.
What a weird Heimlich maneuver.
I know, it's a weird it is weird. That probably ain't gonna
So
work.
when they do Twitter files, or when they have 51 intelligence agents come out and lie that the laptop from hell was Russia disinformation, and now they find out it's not. But they knew that at the time. They cheated on the election in that way, too.
I just want to be clear, though. Are you saying you needed those votes in order to win? Are you acknowledging you didn't win?
I'm not acknowledging. No, I say I won the election.
Okay.
So she asked him that same question like 5 times during the interview. Are you saying that you're acknowledging you didn't win when you say that, to try and get him to say, "Oh, I know I didn't win," because that is the whole premise of all of these indictments, you know. And that what he said at the beginning there was interesting, because the focus has always been, in the media anyway, on the electors in Georgia that they call fake electors, which is not they weren't fake. There was a precedent case that they were modeled after, and they talk about the voting machines. They don't ever really point to the 51 FBI agents that influenced the election. Prior to it, or the FBI agents that were and other intel agents that were inside of Twitter. Trump is also going to be presenting that argument, it sounds like. I think he's telling us what he's going to be saying in court, which I just think is, I know that the justice system is now a system of injustice, but a reasonable person would believe that if the intel agencies would run interference and say the Hunter Biden laptop had earmarks of Russian disinformation, which that's what they say, by the way. If you say the intel agencies said, 51 of them, that it was the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation, they will say, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. They just said it was earmarks of Russian disinformation.
Right. It's so frustrating how semantically religious, like they become these, and you're like, come on.
As though it wasn't
what you were
intentional.
communicating.
Right. I mean, the intent was clear. It was to run a campaign to get people not to look at it and to discredit it. And so Trump hasn't really talked about that. And I think that's probably going to be presented at trial as well.
Good.
But she goes on here. Yeah, I'm excited. I think the trial is going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be wild.
Like OJ. You remember the OJ trial, right?
Oh, yeah. I was in college.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. I hope Trump, like, we get, I don't know who would drive Trump if Trump had a white cat, whatever it was, a Jeep. If he were trying to flee from the police like OJ did, we'd have to, who would be the driver for Trump? Barron?
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe Barron Trump? All right, now this is the best one here. She is really trying to bait him into being an abuser of power, because leading up to this, she's continued to ask him, do you believe in democracy? And he said, yes, I still believe in democracy. She's trying to illustrate that he doesn't believe in democracy, and this is how. This is also, this image, another Boebert image, by the way.
I love it.
Here it is.
I watched that election, and I thought the election was over at 10 o'clock in the evening.
You were listening to your instincts.
My instincts are a big part of it. That's been the thing that's gotten me to where I am, my instincts. But I also listen to people. There are many lawyers. I could give you many books. There are books that are written on how the election was rigged. There are numerous books that were written on how the election was rigged.
Just to be clear, were you listening to your lawyer's advice, or were you listening to your own instincts?
I was listening to different people, and when I added it all up, the election was rigged. There are books
Were you
that
calling
are
the
written.
shots, though?
In fact, Molly Hemingway wrote a great book.
But were you
called
calling the
Rigged.
shots ultimately?
Excuse me. Molly Hemingway, who's highly respected and great, she wrote a book, a best-selling book called Rigged.
Were you calling the shots, though, Mr. President, ultimately?
As to whether or not I believed it was rigged, oh, sure. It was my
They're
decision.
screaming in her earpiece.
Yeah.
Her earpiece, they are screaming.
Are you calling the shots? Right. So my setup, that was the wrong clip. My setup for that, but that's also a great one. The insistence on "Are you calling the shots?" because that is another soundbite they're going for, and I'm going to show you right here how that soundbite was used on CNN with Caitlin Collins. of the source, I believe.
Former
his name.
President Donald Trump was asked over the weekend whether or not he was listening to lawyers or acting on his own accord when it came to challenging the election results, trying to overturn the election. This is what he said.
You called some of your outside lawyers. You said they had crazy theories. Why were you listening to them? Were you listening to them because they were telling you what you wanted to hear?
You know who I listened to myself?
Were you calling the shots, though, Mr. President, ultimately?
As to whether or not I believed it was rigged, oh, sure.
Okay.
It was my decision.
So yeah, they do a little bit of tricky edit. So those
Okay,
moments
but
that they edited together were like 30 minutes apart.
They give the interviewer more airtime
Right.
than the person being questioned.
Yep, exactly.
That's preposterous.
Because the accusation and the guilt of it is it's like comes and they're not really asking questions. They're just accusing people with question marks at the end of it. And so Chris Christie is obviously the person they have on screen here to comment on that. And I'm not going to play his response, but he says, yes, it's if I were his attorney, I'd throw myself out a window because he accuses himself of being the ringleader of this. And that's what that whole, were you the one who was making the decisions line of questioning is. So to them, this is Trump admitting that he was the ringleader of the insurrection conspiracy when he's just talking about how, yes, I am the one who believes that the election was stolen, but they're going to make it me. I guarantee you this comes up in the trial too.
Oh
It's just crazy the lengths
it's
that they'll go to.
absolutely bananas.
Chris Christie is just a piece of shit.
What a piece of shit. What shot does he think he has?
He's a paid like assassin to come in and just tear down Trump. He started off polling at 0%, and he was like 85% disliked as New Jersey governor because he killed an old woman, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be some other motivating reason for him running. He knows he's not going to win. Like, you know what I'm saying? Who's giving him money? Who has donated? Who is answering any link from the Chris Christie campaign and donating $5?
I think Ozempic maybe might try to back him. But yeah, would you ever say who are you going to support in the election? I'm a Chris Christie guy.
Yeah, I'm a Chris Christie guy. Where's the Chris Christie bumper stickers? I'm gonna get some and I'm gonna put it on your truck.
Yeah. What do you like about him? He's just obnoxious. He's an asshole. Stands for nothing.
What a piece of shit.
Have you seen the video of him getting in somebody's face at Wrigley Field?
Yeah, tough guy. Like just once, it's just like when Biden got in that auto worker's face.
Challenged him to do push-ups?
No. The younger guy, this guy would have torn him to pieces. He gets in his face and starts it's the guy, because the guy comes up to him and says, here, you're going to take away my AR-15. The guy goes, listen, pony-faced dog soldier, whatever he fucking says, all the thing, dog-faced pony soldier. He starts pointing him in the chest, and he actually, the clip you don't see, where they cut it a lot in the extended version, the Secret Service guys kind of step forward, and he kind of goes like, hey, your boy's stepping up on me, I'll knock him out. Like, I just want to see one of them get knocked out by a citizen so bad. I want to see them cross that line and get treated like any one of us at a bar who steps out of line.
Right.
That's what I want to see.
It's easy to have a lot of courage when you know you have all those Secret Service people.
Bums.
You're a real tough guy.
Bums. He's a bum.
Put him in the ring. Put him in the Coliseum. They should have to earn their presidency.
What a bum.
Fucking gladiator. Okay. All right. Let's get to the next clip here. Oh, wait. What is this? Okay. This next one's the one I was talking about a minute ago. This is the one where she basically tries to get him to say he's going to run for a third term if he wins.
Good.
Does that hurt a legal defense that he could try to use?
All right. See, that's the question she asked. And he says, yes, obviously it does.
She's got this thing with her
Did you feel
the top of her
Doesn't
mouth
she
doesn't
look
move.
like a porcelain doll?
Yeah, the top of her mouth doesn't move, just the
It's
bottom.
weird. Yeah, look at that. No, I was wondering that the other day.
Yeah, just the bottom, not the top at all.
I think she is like a sex bot that they turned into a news anchor.
Yeah, like that. Like she was a little off. Like it was like kind of like, and they're like, she could be a news anchor.
Yeah, she talked way too much. We didn't pay for this.
She's no Lauren Boebert.
Did you feel as president you had enough power, though, if you were reelected, would you try to find ways, for example, there's a report you're looking into firing potentially people within the federal government who aren't necessarily perceived to be.
Did you have enough power? Like the way she asked that in such a soft way, as though there's not intent behind what she's doing there.
I
Right?
love it. She's a good salesperson.
She is good.
She's
Totally.
good.
Loyal, would you need more power? Do you
Well,
think?
just so you understand, that's what the Democrats do, okay? They do it in spades.
Would you do that?
They do it at a level that you wouldn't believe. I mean, nobody's ever done. No, I wouldn't do that. I want great people, whether they're Republican or Democrat. I want great people. But I want people that love our country, not people that hate our country.
Anything else you'd like to say?
No, I think it's good. I think we did.
Is,
I think we did a lot.
Is there any scenario by which, because Ron DeSantis says if he were elected, he'd have 2 terms and you'd only have 1 more term. Is there any scenario by which you would seek a 3rd term in office?
No.
So one last question: would you destroy democracy and become a full-time dictator? What she's at, and Trump's response to that was basically, if DeSantis says he needs 8, you don't want somebody who says they need 8 years to do something. I'll have a problem solved in 6 months. Is what he said.
That's great. It's a good response.
But I found that interview because she was so good at using.
Frustratingly, infuriatingly good. I don't know why he even did that interview.
I think that he is confident in himself in those situations. He did a great job in the end. He did give them material that they're going to use against him. But he also did a fantastic job maybe he's trying to get the message out to their broader audience, even though I think people are pretty much brainwashed into already seeing things the way that they see them. But what that woman did that the others don't do, like Caitlin Collins and Jake Tapper, they are like visibly upset and angry with his responses. She just had a smile on the whole time, Mr. President. Would you be a dictator?
She did it the right way.
Yeah, you would be a tyrant, wouldn't you? You know.
Yeah, and she's so smooth. She was very smooth. Very nice job.
I applaud her for her. She's a good propaganda.
She really is.
Mouthpiece. So, let's talk
How
about.
much adrenochrome do you think she drinks a day?
Oh God, dude, she's 117 years old. That woman.
Yeah.
You know, some people have like those water tanks, the gallons of water, like big thing. Some people, they have adrenochrome bottles there. It's attached to somebody's child. They run like a line to somebody's child. They don't kill them all the way.
Right.
Isn't it crazy how every 6 months there's a new scientific study says that older rats are made younger by the blood of younger rats, and it's just like, again, we're gonna fuel this.
I know.
And then you read how they do those experiments.
I know.
And they attach.
Oh yeah.
They sew the rats to each other.
Yeah.
So
it's disgusting. It's like it's a bunch of bored scientists just chopping up rats and sewing them together.
What are you doing? Stitching a couple rats together?
Oh my God! All right, I'm going to lunch, guys.
I'll finish up that rat. I got to get it. You know, Hillary Clinton's got 3 or 4 children sewn to the back of her neck right now.
Disgusting.
It is disgusting.
I think we're going to see the end of it. The end of the American experiment. I think it's coming up pretty soon, Brad.
You might not be wrong about that. I don't think that anybody really who's ever lived, like the people who were living in Rome as it was collapsing and decadent, they were probably not going, well, everything's collapsing and decadent, let's just let it fall. They were probably more like us. Not maybe seeing it, but not really believing it until it actually happens. I do think that the Great Reset, part of it was to knock America back from its status as a world
100%.
superpower.
100%.
And pump up China and the Klaus Schwabs of the world.
Evil people.
They got to silence people who question their agenda to do that. People like maybe Russell Brand.
Oh, yeah.
Are you familiar with Russell Brand?
Oh, I'm familiar with him. Before he became a right-wing fascist.
This Channel 4, I've watched some of the clips of their documentary. They refer to him as an alt-right political commentator, Russell Brand. Alt-right.
Did you see? You saw the women who are.
Oh, I got
accusing-
clips of the women. Yeah, yeah.
Those are actresses.
I know. I was gonna. That's the thing that I noticed that right away. And they say in this clip, I'll play it in a second. 5 women are accusing of so and so. Some of them are actors, and this is not their. I mean, you have actors
Yeah.
portraying victims in a documentary.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It's insane. That is insane.
And they talk during this documentary, which is done by Channel 4, and one of Channel 4's like affiliate channels. It's like Channel 4 something. I can't remember what it was called again, but it's a Channel 4 channel. And in it, they're going, we asked Channel 4 if they would speak on if they got any complaints about Russell Brand when he was a host for them. And they said they weren't legally bound to tell us. I'm like, you are Channel 4. Like, you are literally Channel 4
Yeah.
acting like you're challenging Channel. Channel 4 is a pretty impressive propaganda operation. They put out some pretty ridiculous videos. And my thoughts on Russell Brand are, he was a pretty easy target for this because of what a stand-up comedy act used to be, which was
Right.
all about him peacocking and sex all the time. But what you pointed out about the actor thing was suspicious to me, and the way, the timing of it, obviously, that's going to be a problem. But also, all of the accusers, except for one, aren't actually accusing him of a crime. One of the girls says she was 16 when it
Legal
happened,
in
and he was
England.
30.
Weird. We might think it's weird, but it's legal in England.
It's legal there, so it's not technically a crime.
Right.
And the other ones they all had consensual sex with him. They just did not like what he did after. And what I would say is this: if someone sexually harasses you or rapes you, don't wait until a reporter comes knocking on your door asking you to be part of what is an obvious hit job documentary to tell your story. Because if you do have a legitimate claim, and your claim is surrounded by a bunch of claims that are pretty easily, shown to not be criminal activity or sometimes nothing at all, then your claim is going to get kind of viewed in the same light by many people. If you want it to be taken seriously, don't put it in a political hit job. That's why I question the evidence presented about one of the claims, which there is evidence, but it is presented in a narrow context. So let's play some of the clips and we'll see what you think about it. Let me get this out here. Like, Russell Brand, he was hooking up with a lot of chicks, I'm sure, and that's gonna.
Well, they were
draw
celebrating when he was expressing opinions they liked. They were celebrating.
They were all about it.
They
Yeah.
were all about it.
They were like, Russell
No,
Brand banged a 16-year-old.
They also there's a sexual assault accusation against Tim Ballard now, the guy from Sound of Freedom.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah,
that's right.
This is the new thing.
It's what they do,
like-
man. It goes back to the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're either going to be racist or a rapist. It's one of the two.
That back to the hashtag Me Too, which all that did was silence people who were actually victims by treating them the exact same as the most ridiculous claims.
Yeah.
What was the judge where they had all the protests when they were trying to Kavanaugh.
Yeah.
And you have that woman who has this ridiculous story about Trump. I think it was Owen Benjamin. I think this might be his joke, where it's about hashtag Me Too is just pound Me Too.
Say it again.
Hashtag Me Too is pound Me Too. I think that's Owen Benjamin's joke, if I recall correctly. It's pretty
That's
funny.
hilarious.
All right, here's
Grabbing at my underwear, pulling it to the side. I'm telling him to get off me, and he won't get off. Like holding me up against the wall,
says portrayed by an actor on screen. Naughty is what it said a second ago.
pushing himself in me.
These shots.
It's based on the testimony of 5 women who agreed to share their stories. Actors have been used in some cases, and in others,
This
voices
is the
have been
dark alley
changed.
where he raped women. Here's another dark alley where he raped somebody. Right? I can't hear you.
My mic was muted.
There you
Sorry.
go.
I was asking you if you had ever auditioned for a movie role where it was, or not a movie role, but they were like, we want you to audition to play a victim, a real victim in a documentary that will actually have real victims also in it.
No. The closest thing that ever came to it was I auditioned for an anti-Nancy Pelosi campaign where I was like a blue-collar worker who couldn't stand her policies. And I was like, I'll do this one for free.
Who was it for? Somebody running against her? And
It was a PAC, some PAC that was like, we hate NancyPelosi.com.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Those packs. All right, here's the next one. There's another victim, alleged victim.
Within weeks of starting the job, Brand was focusing his attention on a new young runner.
It was only one of my first jobs. I was a runner. There was a real sense for me of being the baby and wanting to make an impression on everybody. I think I must have gone to see what he wanted for lunch, and he saw that it was me, and he turned around towards me. I wasn't incredibly close to him, but I saw that he had his penis out of his shorts or trousers, and it was in his hands. I wasn't going to tell anyone what he'd done because I didn't want to lose my job.
They later began a consensual sexual relationship.
Wait, what? That to me, I was like, oh, okay. So he had his penis in both of his hands. Apparently, he was holding his penis with both of his hands, and that was so terrifying to her that she decided to start sleeping with him consensually.
That's I love how it just jumps to that. That's the last thing I expected to hear. I did not expect that to be the next sentence.
Right? Yeah. So she started dating him.
Yeah.
So it worked, you know. What you take away from that story is
I got to give it a shot. That's what
you grab your penis
guys.
with both hands, not just one hand, both hands.
Yeah,
to a showrunner, and you notice how she described herself as a baby.
I know.
That's intentional language because they're comparing him to Jimmy Savile in these, which is crazy.
I mean, I was a baby. I walked in diapers carrying a baby bottle.
Jimmy Savile had a rape room that was discovered, was having sex with dead corpses. Well, I guess there'd be no other kind of corpse unless it's a zombie, with corpses, and with victims as young as 9 years old. And so they're trying to associate this guy who these women can go to the police. There's no statute of limitations. They can still file, or they can still go tell the police about their claim, and it can be investigated. Right. But as of now, he's presumed innocent of these claims. And yet he's Jimmy Savile.
And yet he's been demonetized on YouTube completely.
Yeah, yeah, right, exactly. They took him off of YouTube for
violating what? Getting accused of something that hasn't been proved true.
Right. Redondo Rocket says, "Rock out with your cock out." It's very fitting name for that comment as well. And Michael says, "Right-wing fascist. Google is now defining fascism as right-wing authoritarianism. It is not. All fascism is authoritarianism." And exactly.
Yeah,
exactly
100%. Right. Yep.
All right, let's see. I think this is another. This is the victim here who apparently did go and tell somebody after the fact. And I just want to let you guys hear it so you can decide what you think.
Nadia met Brand at a party and subsequently had consensual sex with him. On another occasion, she alleges, he raped her.
I was out late and he happened to call me and say, "I've had a really bad day, please come over." And at first I said, "No, I'm not going, it's late." And he's...
By the way, this is the actor. It says portrayed by actor on the screen, so just for clarity there. This is not the
like,
real
"Please
person.
come, just come and cuddle with me." So then I gave in, and I'm like, okay. He pushed me up against the wall. I'm like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I have a friend here, and I want you to come into the bedroom." I'm like, "No, that's not happening. We're not doing that." And I tried to get away from him. And at this point, he's grabbing at my underwear, pulling it to the side. I'm telling him to get off me, and he won't get off. And he has that glazed look in his eye again. I was very distraught, trying to get out of the house with him being so much taller than me, like holding me up against the wall, pushing himself in me. I couldn't move.
That same day, Nadia went to a local rape treatment centre to report what had happened. She underwent tests, was given antibiotics and emergency contraception, but she says she couldn't face going to the police.
When I went in for one of my first therapy sessions, I literally couldn't say the word rape. I had to keep saying sexually assaulted, but by the end of it, I was like, oh my God, he raped me.
Which I thought that was interesting, that she went to a therapist, and after going through therapy, she decided that she was raped.
Mm-hmm.
I would wonder what role the therapist had in creating that conclusion.
In helping her redefine something?
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I can't know.
Right.
He talked about sex all the time. There was a number of women who came out and said they had encounters with him, and they said no to him, and he was perfect. He was a gentleman. He didn't give them any problems. That doesn't mean that he didn't have a moment when he was younger, but this is obviously a hit job. Mm-hmm. Whether or not there's a legitimate claim in there, I don't know, but they still have the right to go to the police about it, and I wonder if they actually will. And if they do go to the police about it, I wonder if it'll be the actor that goes, or if the real person will actually be the one.
Yeah.
Can you imagine it's a trial and they have the actor?
Well, what if Russell Brand just sends an actor in his place, like someone who's portraying Russell Brand?
That'd be a good role. I mean, it'd take a lot of heat, but
yeah, I mean, you might end up going to prison, but
dude, that's like not. It sounds ridiculous, but that's a legitimate question. If somebody is being convicted of something, trial by media, on the basis of words spoken by what is admittedly an actor.
Oh, it's very dangerous what they're doing. I mean, and the fact that they had those actors in there and the way they shot them with those weird close-ups and we can't really see them. And then all the nighttime shots that looked like it was, San Francisco and the sun was setting and serial killer was about to come out. Like everything looked like a serial killer was about to kill someone in the next scene.
Yeah, like if Russell Brand saw who those people were, he'd have them killed immediately.
It's preposterous, but it works on people, man. They don't see it. I think you and I and anyone who pays attention to films becomes aware of these techniques, right? But yeah, it's pretty sad.
And I think people who are on the progressive side of the aisle are ready to believe these things to be true. I know some people that we know who I've heard them talk about Russell Brand and how he used to be a lefty, but now he's swung to the extreme right. And I imagine that when they hear something like this, that the critical thinking part of their brain isn't triggered, that the confirmation bias part of their brain is, and they say, yep, I definitely true, believe it. Yeah. So
how many conservatives or libertarians have become liberals and progressives recently? Like well-known people.
Does
that ever happen?
No, I don't think any.
It seems to be a one-way process, doesn't it?
Right. You only become, and the common denominator seems to be that you disagree with the mainstream narrative, which I would point out that a couple of people, Tucker Carlson, very much highlighted the issues with the Ukraine-Russia war, the Nazis and the military. Russell Brand also focused on that issue. I think that is the issue. One of the main issues they don't want people to question.
And Big Pharma.
Yeah, Big Pharma also. You think Big Pharma cares? I mean, they don't have any power, do they?
I think they do. I think there's enough people making money off of it.
You think there's... yeah, they're like the most powerful industry. CNN is all sponsored by Big Pharma. It's crazy, dude.
I think they're very powerful.
So let's talk about BOEBERT, right? That's really all I want to talk about these days.
All I want to talk about. How many times did you watch the groping video?
just once. You
Yeah.
know,
Okay.
just once or a
Okay.
dozen times.
I keep checking in with it every once in a while,
Just to make sure.
just to make sure it's real.
Yeah. You want to make sure you didn't read it wrong.
Yeah.
There was some developments in the Lauren BOEBERT story since the last time we spoke, and it was that video where apparently there was a video from not apparently, you can watch it unless it's a deep fake, but she seems to admit it, where the guy she's with is groping her boob while she's vaping at one point, and then she starts grabbing on his junk. I mean, it's a regular good time going on. This is a good date happening at the Beetlejuice right there, and she was just a little too obnoxious about it with her PDA, and that is part of the reason that they kicked them out.
And it didn't look like, for someone of her status, didn't look like she had very good seats.
No, well, maybe she wanted those seats so that they could fool around a little bit during the show. You know, it's like going to a movie and sitting in the back.
Yeah.
And the guy whose junk she was grabbing, who was grabbing her breast, he's the owner of he's a Democrat, and he's the owner of a bar that's like a gay bar that does drag shows. And apparently she broke it off with him. I saw this headline
Big
from
surprise.
TMZ that was like, no second date. And I'm like, wait a minute, that was the first date?
I thought they'd been seeing each other for 6 months.
Yeah, I think they were wrong about that claim. But here's BOEBERT. She was confronted by TMZ talking about what
All
happened.
future date nights have been canceled, and I learned to check party affiliations before you go on a date. But all in all, it was mostly a lovely time, and I've taken responsibility for my actions. Would love to know how the musical ended, and I encourage people to go and see it. But it was a great time back in
I'd love to know how the date ended.
the district, seeing voters and.
So how are the voters taking it? How are the voters taking it right now? Are they understanding at this moment?
Yeah, there's a lot of folks who are certainly understanding, and they understand that it was a part of my personal life, my private time, something that I rarely indulge in, and yeah.
And when you say affiliation, as far as knowing not to date the opposite side,
Well, TMZ, I'm pretty sure you told the world I went on a date with a Democrat.
so when it comes like that, when those times when you're
No,
There's a guy that just came up
That's
behind
a traffic
BOEBERT
cop.
on a Segway. Looked
That's
like
a
he was
cop.
trying to cut off the interview. Yeah, is that a cop?
Yeah, it was a cop.
That was weird.
he's a wonderful man, and it was a great time to go out and have dinner, enjoy part of a show, and now it's back to work. We're here in DC,
okay.
and focusing on
so
taking
is that
care of my
date life?
people.
Is that over with him because of some people say because he had a drag bar or his
Yeah,
bar
no,
did that or
nothing
anything?
to do with anything anybody reported. But
Okay.
honestly, he's a private citizen, and
Respect that.
we peacefully parted at this time. Great man, great friend, and I wish him all the best. Well,
I'm sure she peacefully parted after the date that night. Look how hot she looked in that sweater.
Oh, they walked. I know. They walked away holding hands. I noticed that.
That guy is an F buddy, is what it seems like to me. And I don't know what her divorce was like, but
How
this chick, let's put her.
all future date.
Sorry. So
And
this
that
is
is adorable.
that girl is hot. All right.
She's hot.
That's a sexy chick right there.
Yeah.
And look at that smile.
I know.
And she right.
And she's
like,
answering TMZ. I kind of like that. I have to be honest.
right.
She's owning up to it.
and we're looking at her and we're going, yeah, she's all right. But we also know in our logical brains that she's batshit crazy. And that she's going to make anybody's life miserable who gets to grope them breast in the Beetlejuice show. And that guy, I bet she sat him down and told him he's not to say a word about what happened. And she laid in, if he wants to have a little bit of that action going on again, he's not going to say a word. This woman is trouble right here. Like she's like, God, she's.
Well, she's originally from Florida.
Yeah, she's a redneck.
I know this type of girl. I'm from Florida.
Yeah, this is a redneck.
So, yeah. Yeah. No, this is a good time party girl.
Absolutely,
She's
dude.
a lot of fun. Good time. Yep.
And she's gonna start getting loud after a couple drinks. There's no doubt about
Oh
it.
yeah, gonna get loud. One drink too many. You guys are gonna be like 3 or 4. You're gonna be carrying her out of there. Be like, come on, Lauren.
Right.
Lauren, we gotta go. We gotta go. You're gonna get us all killed.
You're gonna put up with it or not? And I say don't. I say run away from it. Just like I say run away from Britney Spears, who when I was in high school, I would have said otherwise. But Britney Spears has gone batshit crazy. So Britney Spears divorced her husband recently, and then like the next day after the papers were filed, so Britney Spears has like 40 million followers on Instagram, right? So that's like people's worst fear is your ex right after you break up starts posting photos with other guys on their Instagram. But most people's exes only have maybe a couple hundred, if that, followers on Instagram. Britney Spears, 40 million plus followers, and right after the divorce, she is posting photos of her in a swimming pool with what she described as a sexy group of guys, like 5 guys, just picking her up in a swimming pool to the point where her ex-husband unfollowed her on Instagram. Obviously, you're going to unfollow her.
I love that this is being reported on, that someone has to sit there and write that adults are unfollowing one another. This is
Yes, it's a big story. It's breaking news.
This experiment deserves to end. You know?
Yes. Absolutely, when that's breaking news. All right, I got one more story, and then we'll go to the XR. We'll do a quick XR. And what we're going to do in the D&B XR, the subscriber-only portion of the show, is there was this study that came out about how AI is more creative than people. And I read through the study, and what they did is they did an improv game. They don't realize it was an improv game, but that's what they did with people and then with AI, and they wanted to see which one was better at it. And I think you'll be interested in this little experiment they
I'll
did.
take an AI on.
Yeah, I know. I want to see if you want to do the experiment. We can pull up ChatGPT as well. So we're going to do that in DMB XR. If you want to get access to that, go to patreon.com/propaganda report. Subscribe there today. You can find my website at propagandafight.com. I'm at Freedom Act Radio on Twitter, youtube.com/Brad Binkley on YouTube, and rumble.com/The Prop Report. Ian, where can everybody find you if you want them to find you?
Really not anywhere right now.
What's your address and social?
Sure. Yeah, nothing really going on. You can find me here. I'm hanging out with Brad a lot these days, so find me here. Hollywood's on strike, but I struck first.
Hell yeah. Ian's modest. Ian's a movie star, and he is he struck first too. So we got a redneck or Redondo Rocket says he doesn't trust anyone with such white teeth. I don't either. I don't either. So this last story is there's a Walmart in Vines. You ever been to Vine City in Atlanta, Ian?
I have, yeah.
So that is
there's some wild places, yeah.
Yeah, it's the most violent city in Atlanta. Like there's a movie about it, I think it's called The Bluff or something like that. Well, there was a Walmart in Vine City. I've actually done stories before about how you're taking your life in your own hands when you go in Walmart because dangerous things happen in Walmarts, and that could never be more true over the past few years as billions of dollars have been lost in thefts in Walmarts because of some of the policies in San Francisco and just the crime that happens that is not being, there's nobody policing any of the crime. And so this Walmart in Atlanta was set on fire because the thieves were trying to distract from their thieving. And they set a pair of men's boxers on fire in the back of this Walmart in Vine City. And everybody goes running out, and you can see all the people running, pushing their carts of stolen shit out. And that was like the 4th time that had happened in Atlanta, because that's what we do in Atlanta at Walmarts, is we burn them down so we don't get caught stealing televisions and stuff. Except this Walmart, it got a little too burned to stay open. And the others stayed open, but this one now is going to be reopened again because they're going to be trying something new. They're reopening this Walmart in Vine City in May of 2024, and it's going to have inside of it a police station. It'll be a full-fledged police station because of the theft that goes on at Walmarts.
I'm going to become a cop. I'm going to become a cop, and I'm going to become a detective that works in that Walmart.
Dude, it's like a legitimate police working station that they're building. It's not like a security cop. It's like, and I've been to this Walmart.
So if I make it out of the Walmart, I go, I've crossed the line, copper. I'm out of your jurisdiction.
Yeah, it's like getting to Mexico. You're out. Yeah. Well, I wonder if maybe it should be a fire department, because what are they going to do? Shoot the fires that they start in the back of the Walmart when they're trying to steal stuff? We need a fire department there. We probably need an EMT there, maybe a probation officer.
We need a mayor. We're going to need a mayor of this Walmart.
We're going to need a mayor of Walmart. The mayor of Atlanta said that that Walmart's going to be getting $1.5 million in this initiative. And this is part of an initiative to expand fresh grocery access to low-income communities, because they burned the Walmart down. Some people, not everybody in the community. But like I said, Walmart loses $3 billion annually in these incidents like this. And the mayor also said, you're thinking about going into this Walmart to do some shoplifting or a robbery or whatever. You see Atlanta Police Department logo and you say, not today. He told this to the community. I don't know if it's going to work out the way that he hopes.
I don't think it's going to work out the way he hopes.
It's not like there's not cops in Vine City, It's just that they're all shopping at Walmart.
What I'm really imagining is in the middle of the Walmart, there's these frosted glass doors. Right. And they've got the logo on there, and you open it up, and inside it's another world. And they're typing, and they're filling out police reports, and the whole soundscape completely changes once you're inside the police station, which is inside the Walmart.
Right. Yeah.
And you can be inside the prison, which is inside the police station, which is inside the Walmart.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. They really want to be effective. They need instead of hiring people to stock shelves, they need to pay prisoners. They need to put them in a chain gang, and they need to stock shelves for 30 cents or 3 cents an hour in a chain gang. Or work the registers. Everybody's in a chain gang who works there. Or have somebody literally behind bars getting butt raped in the Walmart, and people will think twice about stealing a 30-inch TV.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point.
What do you even steal at Walmart? I mean, there's a lot of stuff to steal. But what happened in Atlanta for a little while during the Summer of Love was there's these two malls. There's Phipps Plaza and there's Lenox Mall, which are in Buckhead, which used to be really nice high-end malls. And they still are nice, I guess, but ever since the pandemic and the Summer of Love, what happened is all these people, they would organize around hashtags on Twitter, and they would flash mob and flash rob Lenox. And all of these people would go into Lenox at once, hundreds of them, and they would steal like Air Jordans. They all stole tennis shoes.
Mm-hmm. I remember that stuff. Yeah, just running through. And you can't stop them all. You just look as they run by with product.
What? So what? Like that's the crime you're committing. You're saying, I see the hashtag. There's going to be dozens of cars circling Lenox, and we're all going to get out. We're going to ambush the Nike store, and we're getting them Jordans or whatever. Mm-hmm. That is what you're willing to risk it all for, is the tennis shoes.
They're kids, and they think this is fun. I mean, I used to toilet paper houses. That's what we would do.
I mean, we did that when we were adults.
You're not supposed to talk about that. It could ruin several people's lives.
Yeah, there's a lot of people we have compromised because we did that. I do wonder, toilet papering people's houses as a kid was so much fun. But now you can't because you have Ring cameras everywhere.
It's really sad how under surveillance everything is. I mean, you've seen the cameras in London for the emissions-free zones?
No.
Okay, this is creepy. So in London, in these different areas, they're putting up these cameras. If you have a car that's like older than 2016, as soon as you enter one of these areas and start operating your vehicle, they charge you like $15.
If your car's older, they want you to have the smart cars.
Yeah, they're pushing us because they gotta keep China happy. So we gotta buy electric cars.
Dude, that's nuts, dude.
Gotta keep China happy.
Yeah, they want everybody on the grid. So I was looking at some of the weirdest crimes that had happened in Walmart, and there's one crime where this guy was running around naked in the Walmart, and then he threw a cup of semen on somebody.
Okay.
Can you imagine that? You're just trying to shop for something, and some random naked guy throws a cup of semen on you. That's like the least thing.
You know, I'm not going to lie. I've been, as a younger man, I was very impulsive. But a thought that impulsive never crossed my mind.
That's really it's well, that's a preparation. I don't think that's impulsive though, because you have to like bring the cup of semen, take your clothes off, and pick your targets.
See, I think it happened. See, I don't know. I think it happened. It was like spur of the moment. He's like, I'm going to do this. Oh, I got to get rid of this somewhere. And then he's got this cup of semen. He's like, I can't hold on to this. He's running around trying to find some place to get rid of it.
He's got to pick and choose.
Yeah. I can't get dressed until I get rid of this.
Yeah. So it's always fun to look at stuff like that. So
I love it.
I think this is the wrong one. A nude sock thief, a guy, he was strolling in Walmart and he stripped his clothes off in the parking lot before entering. Yeah, you always got to take your clothes off before you go in. And then another one is guy was naked. And he was apparently doing some meth. The whole football team apparently tackled a shoplifter at one point. There's the semen attack I was talking about. Somebody was super glued to a toilet in a Walmart one time. He went and sat down in that back, and they ended up sitting there for a while. Then you had shake and baking method. In 2012, a man was arrested for allegedly attempting to make methamphetamines in a Walmart in Ohio. He caught the eye of security after they allegedly spotted him putting items in his shopping cart that are commonly used to cook meth. But did he cook the meth, though? Well, he looks like he probably did. The underground meth lab at a Walmart. This was an underground meth lab found at a Walmart parking lot in Amherst, and a fish murder. In 2017, 4 people walked into a Walmart in Texas with nefarious intent. It is believed that they poured bleach into a Walmart fish tank, killing $1,000 worth of fish. You can buy fish at Walmart? I had no idea.
Yeah, in the pet section.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. All right, we're going to go to the Drive Time News Blast XR. After that, I encourage everybody to go read about the craziest things that have happened at Walmart, because...
And then try to see if you can top it.
Yeah, we want to get more stories like that. Absolutely. And watch your back if you're at the self-checkout aisle after midnight. It's a dangerous place to be. If you want to get access to the DMB XR, subscriber-only portion of the show, patreon.com/propaganda report. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all the activity in the chats. We'll talk to you next time. Have a fantastic